Hello everyone, my name is MJoyce Baker-Smith and I am with the Truth Seekers Coalition. Today I'm going to discuss some of the issues that were presented by the proponents in the recall petition for Governor Newsom. As a voter, I wanted to know exactly what the petition to recall Governor Newsom said. And this is what I found. Number one, Governor Newsom has implemented laws which are detrimental to the citizens of the state and our way of life. Number two, laws he endorsed favored foreign nationals in our country illegally over that of our own citizens. Number three, people in the state suffer the highest taxes in the nation, the highest homeless rate, and the lowest quality of life as a result. Number four, he has imposed sanctuary state status and fails to enforce immigration laws. He unilaterally overruled the will of the people regarding the death penalty. Number six, he seeks to impose additional burdens on our state by the following: removing the protection of Proposition 13, rationing our water use, increasing taxes, and restricting parental rights. The petition also included a statement from Governor Newsom and his answer to the recall, which included the following. His statement was, "Our budget is balanced, our fiscal reserves are unprecedented, our economy and unemployment are historically strong." He also added that he believes there are a handful of partisan activists supporting President Trump and his dangerous agenda to divide America, and they're trying to overthrow the will of the Californians and bring Washington's broken government to California with this recall effort. Well, my thoughts are, first of all, the governor cannot implement laws. The laws are implemented by the state legislature. However, the governor of California does have the line item veto. And if you look at Article 4, Section 10E, it reads, "The governor may reduce or eliminate one or more items of appropriation while approving other portions of a bill." But if he does not line item veto something, his veto can be overturned by the legislature with a 2/3 vote in each house. Similarly, as with bills vetoed by the governor, the legislature can override. This applies to any budget or appropriation bills in which items of spending are reduced or eliminated by the governor. The governor can also allow a bill to take effect by simply letting it stay on his desk for more than 12 days and not signing it. That will automatically cause the bill to take effect. On the petition, it also said some of the laws he endorses do favor illegal residents. Well, that's a complicated issue too. And that's complicated because many people cite issues that include education, health care, and another thing, street vendors. Education is free to all, so therefore it can't specifically be an advantage for illegal residents. Healthcare, which he also proposed which has been proposed in two parts, first of which was under 25, and then recently the one that he signed, 50 and over, that allows everybody to have access to low cost or free health care. But that's everybody. And it does state irregardless of citizenship status. They also they talk about street vendors and how street vendors have an advantage. Street vendors do have an advantage in effect because they compete with brick and mortar. However, street vendors, because most of their income is cash, they aren't forced to produce receipts to show how much they received or how much their sales are. So that's an issue. And ever since a bill which Jerry Brown signed in September 2018, which took effect January the 1st, 2019, that is when it came into effect that California cities cannot ban vending in parks. Cities cannot determine where vendors can operate their sidewalks unless there is a health, safety, or welfare concern. Street vendors are no longer required to ask permission from adjacent businesses to operate. In other words, it's giving them a free will as long as they get a certificate from or a license from the city in which they operate, number one. And number two, as long as they adhere to those licenses. If you want further detail on that, all you need to do is go look up SB 946. That was passed, I think that was in 2018. The other part he talked about is California taxes being the highest in the nation. In fact, they are. As of 2018, the sales tax itself was 7.25, which, by the way, was a reduction in taxes at 7.53 the years before. And the state does have the highest personal tax, and that's sales income tax, and that is for higher earners. For example, 9.3% for people that earn 53 to 269,000, and 13.3% for those making $1 million or over. So we do have a high tax rate. The next comment that was brought up was California. The reason to recall him was because California has the highest homeless rate. We do have the highest homeless rate. And the homeless population was stated for 2021. If you go to World Population Review, COM, you'll get that information by state. What are the reasons why we have the highest homeless rate? Well, California has the largest population in the United States and the largest economy as well. That means that there are many shelters here. And that also means that for reasons that many people are homeless was that they might have migrated to California for a job. And when the job market became, we lost the job market basically here when things closed up. They migrated and they chose to stay because of the different facilities and offerings and benefits that California offers. The petitioners also discuss the quality of life. And to me, that's kind of subjective, because how do you know what someone's quality of life is? It's defined as an individual's perception of the position in life in the context of the culture, value systems in which they live. Again, that's quite subjective, and I understand that many times perceptions are more real than reality, but again, that's exceptions. And how do you really measure a person's quality of life objectively? They talked about the state of California becoming a sanctuary state. Well, that was done in September of 2017 when Jerry Brown signed that bill. So how could the present governor be responsible for a bill that has already been signed by someone else? That bill happened to be Senate Bill 54. And that's when it was passed by along party lines, 27-12. The other viable option would be to follow federal law. I know we have a state, and I know we're trying to be benevolent and compassionate, but not following federal law creates issues. One of the issues is that we have to house another person that is here illegally, which produces in itself an expenditure rather than an income. Also, there's the issue of what type of people we do not turn over to the federal government. And I know that the courts can determine that, but if you're not following the federal law in the first place, then who determines who we turn over? So sanctuary state needs to follow the federal law, period. The next thing was the proponents brought up was California's votes against the death penalty, and that Governor Newsom has denied us following through on that. Now, he didn't initially say we're not going to follow through, but what he did do is he put a moratorium on that. And the majority of voters, even though California has bounced back and forth, first they want the death penalty, then they won't. The latest thing, though, is that the death penalty was in effect. And for his reasons for placing a moratorium on it was because other states have done it, one of which happened to be Washington State, the state of Washington. And the reason the state of Oregon and Colorado and Pennsylvania. And all of those governors have imposed moratoriums on the death penalty. And as a matter of fact, in 2018, in Washington, for example, Washington State Supreme Court struck down the death penalty as unconstitutional and racially biased. So Governor Newsom has used that as a precedent for putting a moratorium on that. There's so many points in here that you need to look at both sides. And that's the reason, to be a true democracy, you have to be able to look at both sides. Again, this is MJoyce Baker-Smith, and thank you very much for watching another issue of Truth Seekers.